Are you ready for a reboot? Welcome to the Sheila Mack Show, reality at its finest. History reminds us those hit hardest often become the change makers. This year, we've all hit crazy economic, social, and emotional rock bottoms. We all get knocked down. Something hits globally, locally, personally. It affects our health, finances, our relationships. We have to recreate a business or career. Each show, Sheila and her special guest will be sharing their reboot stories, guiding you with real solutions to upgrade and up-level emotionally, mentally, physically, spiritually, and financially. Here on NBC's KCAA Radio. If you're ready to pull yourself up by the bootstraps and bra straps, enjoy a listen. Here's Sheila.
Welcome to the Sheila Mack Show, reality at its finest. Here we have real people sharing real stories and actionable steps to help you reinvent, rebuild, and reboot your business and personal life on your terms. I'm your host, Sheila Mack, and today we have special guest, Belden Comb, and he is just an incredible guy. But to share a little bit more about him. In 2004, at just 39 years old, Belden was in the emergency room with his first heart attack, and two more were soon to follow. And Belden was lucky to survive. Over the years, he had constantly been trying to lose weight and lower his blood pressure. He had followed his doctor's advice over and over again, but nothing seemed to work long term. So knowing that he wanted to live, he had to fix his body. Belden went back to school to study cellular biology and biochemistry. What he learned shocked him because it was so counter to everything that he had been taught about nutrition and the body. Applying what he learned, he lost 105 pounds, reversed prediabetes, normalized his blood pressure, and in just less than 2 years had no remaining signs of heart disease. And he was able to get off all of his 21 medications. Belden continued to research how his experience could be enhanced to help literally everyone. And that research formed the basis of now what is called nutritional fitness. All right. Welcome to the show, Belden.
Thank you, Sheila. I appreciate you having me.
Yes, and now my show is based on my new best-selling book. You can see the poster behind me, Bootstraps and Bra Straps, the formula to go from rock bottom back into action in any situation. And I'd love for you to share about a time in your business or personal life where you experienced a tough situation and how you got back on track.
I think you just read about one of them. I remember after my second of 3 heart attacks, I remember a time I was sitting on the couch in my pajamas with a big cup of coffee, just sitting there kind of staring into my coffee because I was literally at the bottom of the pit. It's like there was no place lower that I could possibly go. And the thoughts in my head were just thoughts of what's next. It's like, this is the end. And it was from that spot, sitting there just looking into the cup, thinking this was the end, that this whole crazy idea of going back to school and figuring out how a body works came into my head. Because my life, and I kind of get the sense that yours might be the same in certain places, Sheila, my life taught me early on that if you can't find a way, you make the way. Right. And so going back to school was the only way I could think of to make the way forward. And by doing it, I changed my life and have been able to change the life of thousands of people since. And it's been just a godsend taking that one step of going back and learning.
Yes, that is incredible. So now, how long did it take you to study this and find this magical nutritional fitness?
There are so many different ways to answer that question because turning my own heart disease around, I learned everything I needed to learn to do that in my first year, studying chemistry, biochemistry, and cellular biology in my first year, which just left me staggered, to be honest with you, because it's like, this stuff should be taught in high school.
Oh yeah.
It's not that difficult. It should be taught in high school. But I've continued studying nonstop from that point until today. So 17 years and counting has taught me how to literally apply what I learned to everyone who wants to make a change in their life and help guide people not only through the physiology, but through the psychology and the emotional aspects of this.
Yeah.
And God help me, I'll continue learning until the day I die.
Yes, this is incredible. And just for those listeners tuning in, I want to share the quick story of how I manifested this magical Belden and nutritional fitness into my life. So we are associated with a group, Tony Robbins Platinum Partners, and so I have dinner meetings that I arrange now and then, and and at my vacation home in Las Vegas, I said, "Oh, I just want to, I just have this feeling I really need to get together with my peer group, with my friends." And, we've met on some of the masterminds. One of your business partners, Mike, and I had met on the masterminds with the group that we do weekly. And so I thought, okay, and so he was flying in for a convention or something, and you happened to live in Vegas at the time. And so that day, okay, a few days before that, I had a stomach issue. I was in the emergency room. That was July 4th. I was in the emergency room, and it was not cool. And I was like, I just can't do this. I do not do, I feel that wellness is something that I want in my life. And this is like not a cool direction to go. This emergency room thing is not something I want to keep up. So I wanted to make these changes, and I set the intention. And sometimes, I mean, like Tony Robbins says, the decision is the first part of anything. You have to make a decision to make a change in your life. And then the system in your mind starts finding the answers for you. Like this is magical woo-woo for, maybe in a scientific way. And so I had joined this OsteoStrong gym. I had done all these, I do the hot works, I'm doing all these things, and I'm doing these crazy diets. Before I was doing this diet that you drink soup and it looks like a fast, but it's not. That was tearing up my stomach, something fierce, and it was getting worse. And I was like, okay, I have to suffer so much to have any results. And then it would be the same 3 pounds back and forth, and suffering and ending up in the emergency room. So that was not my right road. So anyway, so we go to dinner, and I brought my daughter, and we had a great time, and sit down, and I get introduced to the nutritional biologist, cellular biologist, and you tell me this story of you lost this 105 pounds, and then Mike tells a story of he lost, I don't know, 50, 60, I don't know how many pounds. And I was like, what are you talking? What is this? Okay. Like I thought I had done everything. And, it's like, have you done everything? Well, no, because I never heard of this. And so, but it was the perfect timing, because I was very open to finding something. And these are real people sitting in front of me that had these incredible, you have the before and after pictures and everything. And I was like, okay, all right, I want to do this. And it's only been a little bit more than a month or so that I actually started the program, and like things fit looser. I've lost a good amount of weight in that short period of time. It's like I've never lost that fast. But the weirdest thing, I'm off all my medications. Not that I was on that many. I'm healthier. I have more energy. I sleep better. I feel better. My family's starting to eat healthy too now. It's incredible. And my mind is just like, this is wild. And I do not feel deprived. I feel like it's completely not only healing and serving my body, but I'm not hungry. And I feel like I'm good with eating like this. This is really cool. And so anyway, that is how I manifested Belden, and this nutritional fitness really is incredible. So as you keep watching the show, I will be on my journey, and you'll just have to wait and see. But so I would love to hear, Belden, you started this quite like, what is it, 15, 16 years ago, right? That now at this point?
Almost 17 now. It was late 2004, 2005.
I told him, where have you been all my life? Like the struggles that some of us go through. And, there's hormonal, all these things get balanced. It's wild. So now you've started this, And you've had so many people have success, lasting success. That is incredible. In fact, you had this party, and I attended just for a short time and got to see people that have been in your program, and had results, and they continue to have results and keep the weight off. 8 years. One of the ladies was 8 or some I don't know how many years, long years, and not a problem. And just it's an incredible difference that it actually is working. So I just was like, okay, I am all in 100%. And I really started after that party. I was like, okay, I'm going to read the book. I'm gonna do everything the videos say. So I'm so impressed. So you started to see the different people healing from getting off medications and healing. How does that work? How does that happen?
There's something I learned very early on in this journey, and that's that we're not broken. I always hear people say, yeah, I tried this thing, nutritional fitness, it really worked. It doesn't work. You work. And when I came to the understanding early on that the body heals itself, and just think about this in a context we can all relate to. If you break a bone and you go to the doctor, does the doctor heal your bone? And the answer is no. The doctor can set it into the right position and put a cast on it to immobilize, but that's it.
Yeah.
After that, the bone itself starts sending fibers across the gap and pulls itself together and creates a bond that's now stronger than the original bone was. Your body does that. Your body does all of that. What the doctor does is supports the healing process by setting the bone and immobilizing it. And that understanding opened all kinds of perceptions for me. My doctor couldn't heal heart disease.
Yeah.
Couldn't do it. I can't heal heart disease. You can't heal heart disease. But my body can. Just like that bone, I either support the process or I don't support the process. And that changed everything for me. It's like, great, I got this thing inside. I'm not broken. How do I support it? And by asking that question about diabetes, about heart disease, about fatty liver disease, about inflammation in the body, by asking that question, we're able to find solutions to so many problems just with that one question. The body's going to heal it. Let's just believe that. How do I support it? And supporting it opened whole new worlds. So everyone who's listening to this, just realize you're not broken. The body is just an input-output system, and it only can work with what we give it. So let's start supporting healing instead of destruction.
Yes. And this science, to me, is some kind of magic. I keep saying it is like, what? People eat all this food and it works. Are you kidding? I don't have to just have soup broth and have stomach pain from it. Are you kidding me? This is wild. I don't have to be in pain and suffering to get a result. This is awesome. This is, because it is really so, like you said, that counterintuitive. What we have been taught, or listen, when I sat down at that table with you, Belden, one of the things I said was, well, I eat healthy. I shop at this health food and that health food, and I buy only organic, and I do all, and anybody that knows me or has been to my home knows that this is the truth about how I thought I was living my life. I thought I was serving my body, and my body wasn't working. And it wasn't behaving. It was like, being a little naughty there. And I was like, come on now. I was spending so much money on all these things that are supposed to be good for me that were actually not so good for me. And the minute I made the switches, it was, and yes, I still do very clean food and everything, but even cleaner than I thought was healthy. But it's easier because it works. So, I just, every day I'm like, this is still working. This is crazy.
You talk, Sheila, about decisions and making healthful decisions and eating healthy. And it's become kind of a nebulous concept. What is eating healthy? Because it doesn't have a definition anymore.
Right.
But we make decisions based on what we know. And so much of what we know just isn't factual. And if it's okay with you, I'd like to share three things I actually had these in a conversation with a client prospect today. And we were talking about how she makes decisions for her health. And one thing that most of us have come to believe that's so misleading is that food is fuel. Food is fuel. And when we believe food is fuel and that we burn food as fuel, we make decisions a certain way.
Right.
Everything I eat is going to power me. So how do I balance my proteins, carbs, and fats so I have the right fuels to burn that are going to power me this way? And if we believe that food is fuel, we're going to believe that everything that we eat gets burned to that end. And if we are in moderation, pretty much anything's okay. We're going to burn it. It's going to become energy, right? And we're taught this.
Right.
But if this were true, why is it that if we eat 5,000 calories, we feel lethargic instead of filled with energy, right? But if we think of food differently in one respect, it changes all of our decisions about how we eat. And that respect is this. The top surface of our skin, our epidermis, replaces itself every 28 days. And the raw materials for that new skin come from someplace, right? We don't absorb them from our sheets at night. It literally comes from the food that we eat. And that shift, food isn't being burned as fuel. Food is the building blocks for what makes us. That shift can change so many things in the decisions that we make because suddenly what I put in my body matters.
Yeah.
Do I want a house built out of cardboard or do I want a house made out of wood and steel? Obviously, I want wood and steel. But see, if I was going to burn everything that went into the building in my house, it wouldn't really matter, would it? So fundamental shift. Food is not fuel. Food is the building blocks that make us. So what we eat matters in a different sort of way. Another shift that we talked about in that conversation is we tend to believe that people who look good are healthy. The people who have the abs and the big biceps and the big butt, these are the healthy people. We need to do what they're doing. And she spoke in this conversation about how she was losing inches and not weight. But at the same time, she thought she was making the better decisions for her health. She developed type 2 diabetes. Her blood pressure went up. And so we talked a little bit about this. If you're not losing body fat, but you are losing inches, where's all that body fat going? You're sucking your waist in, you're losing inches, clothes are fitting better, but all that visceral fat is now being pushed up inside your abdominal cavity where it does what? Limits how deeply you can breathe.
Wow.
Wraps around your organs so that your organs can't fluctuate. I mean, just imagine your heart that's trying to do this suddenly has a fat cast around it and it's trying to pump, but it can't. And so fundamentally, we need to get past the idea that how we look is directly related to how we are in terms of our health. We have to realize that people that look great can be sick.
This is true.
So what are we going after? Are we going after the appearance or are we actually going after our health? Because that is going to make a difference in how we eat. Do we eat like a gym rat or do we eat like somebody that's free of disease?
Yes.
And the third thing, if we can get to this point, realizing that energy is the foundation of everything in our body. And you mentioned Tony Robbins. Tony likes to talk about this. Energy at the cellular level is the basis of everything in our life we want to do, whether it's being healthy or whether it's growing our business, whether it's being in a great relationship or raising kids. Energy is the foundation of everything. And if we're losing weight and we're still not gaining energy, we're doing something wrong. The weight might be going away, but we're not increasing our health. So a few fundamental shifts change how we eat from throwing darts. Does this stick? Does this stick? Oh, that didn't work. Let's try that. That wasn't sustainable. Let's try that. To realizing that we are chemistry, and chemistry is predictable, and chemistry is absolutely consistent, and we don't have to guess. We can put into the beaker what we need to create any reaction we want. So let's go to work on that so that we can take the mystery out of what eating healthy means.
Mm-hmm. Yes, yes. It's, to me, it is mind-boggling how this works, and it's science. And I thought, well, yeah, it might work for everybody else, but it probably won't work for me because none of this other stuff's been working. And holy moly, what am I? I'll try it, but it works. And then there's different phases, and as you get into Belden's nutritional fitness program, there's different things you do, and you have to trust the process. And I'm like, every time I go to a new process, I'm like, I gotta trust this process. What? And it worked. And then a few days later, I'm like, oh my God, that worked too. Oh my goodness. This science stuff is great because it works. And I could say I have this, that, and the other that I had, but I know my body is healing. And not needing medications, or is sleeping better, and energy, and all these different things. No pain, no more visits to the ER. This is awesome. And so that I have more energy, and I can have a better quality of life from this. Is only a month, so you have to give it time. And as your body, if you are healing through something, I think the time to heal is needed, and it just kind of gets better and better over time as you stay with this. It's not, to me, it's like, well, I don't think I want to go back to not being healthy. That wasn't very fun at all. That kind of like, that was not a good way to spend most of my 4th of July. I mean, I made friends with all the doctors and nurses. We watched the fireworks outside. We talked. It was not, and they took care of me. But that was not exactly my ideal holiday. So yeah. And
Nice.
a few days later. So yeah. So the one thing I have to say about nutritional fitness, being a person that's now in this program, is not only do you go over you eating, this is the scientific way or whatever, this is the process, and you have a formula and different ways you do different times, all these things. It's not just that. It's, you have this beautiful support group. So like twice a week, we do these online calls with one another, and their support. You have these events that are live now and then for people to gather, where I walked into that and heard stories and connected with people. There's a connection group, and there's a lot of mindset stuff that nobody ever helped me with. That was, I mean, this thing about, there was this one thing about terminology, and that you shared with me, and you share it much better than I do, but it was about how, when you start a diet or a health regime or whatever, and you go with your friends and you say, well, I can't eat cake, and I can't drink wine right now. And I can't. And then all of a sudden your friends start to like sabotage, and they're like, no, have some wine, have a little piece of cake. It won't hurt you. And they might be the same friends that behind your back say, oh, she could lose some weight, the same friends, but they will like shove that stuff in your face. And I'm like, what in the hell is that? And you can explain it better. And the way he explained it, I was like, I was the cause. What in the heck? And it was just, and it does this with so many things that are mindset, and it just changes how you are able to negotiate doing this as a lifestyle, or something to live through, to get better and better, instead of making it so hard.
I love this example that you're talking about, Sheila.
Yes.
And there's a couple of things that we can do right here to really illustrate how powerful words are. And we think of words in terms of, how do our words affect other people?
Yeah.
How do we manipulate? How do we win friends and influence people? We think of words in terms of how other people's words affect us, but we almost never think in terms of how our own words feed back into our psyche and create our reality just from the neurolinguistic feedback.
Yes.
Right? I can't is such a great word to illustrate this with, because if you just take your fist and you clench it right now, you just do this. And while your fist is clenched, you say out loud, I can't, I can't, I
Yes,
can't.
I
And
can't.
just keep repeating that, I can't. You'll feel your grip get weaker.
Yeah.
You can feel it. You can perceive it. I can't is a victim word. And when
Mm,
that word feeds back into our own psyche, it makes us physically, spiritually, emotionally, psychologically weak.
wow.
And when we create a state of weakness, what are we going to do when we're faced with temptation? It's so much easier to give into it. But if you do another thing and you clench that fist and you
Mhm.
repeat out loud, I can, I
I
can, I
I can.
can. Do you feel your grip getting
Yes.
stronger
Yeah.
every time you say I can?
And
And when you think you've got that grip as tight as you can possibly get it, and you say I can, you're like, holy crap, it just got tighter.
yes.
I can, it just got tight until your fingers start to hurt here at the joint because you're squeezing so tight and your fingernails are. But see, I can is a power word.
Mm-hmm.
It makes us emotionally, spiritually, physiologically stronger.
Yes.
And as we use the word I can't when we're on a diet, and almost everyone does,
Mm-hmm.
we make ourselves weak to the point that it's easier for us to give in. And then we look at how that word affects other people.
Yes.
Because when you say the word I can't, what other people hear on a subconscious level,
Mm-hmm.
up here, they heard what you said. But down here, they heard you say, I want that cake more than anything in the world, and Belden won't let me have it.
Yeah.
And right away, they're saying, who the hell is this Belden guy to tell you what you can and can't have? You can have whatever you want to have. I
Yes.
heard you say how much you want it. Let me help you have it. Come on, have a little piece. A little piece isn't going to hurt.
Right.
Just one. Just one's not going to hurt you. Come on, live a little. Come
Mm.
on, it's a birthday party. But see, all this stuff that they're doing, and you're like, God, why are you sabotaging me?
Right.
They're
Is
doing because you told them to. You
yes.
told them how much you want this cake. You told them that something's preventing you from having this thing that you want. And why should you be deprived? We're really helping them. But if we change the word again, I don't eat cake. I'm doing this thing. This thing really makes me feel good. And to
Yeah.
feel good, I just don't eat cake anymore.
Right.
Now you know what they've heard. Now your friends have heard you own your decision. It's no
Mm.
longer Belden telling you what you can and can't have. They
Yes.
heard you own your decision. And you know what they do with that? They say,
But,
okay.
yep.
And they start helping you to the point that down the road, when they see you having a piece of cake, they're going to say,
Boy. Yeah.
Sheila,
I thought you
you
weren't.
don't eat cake.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Yeah.
That's
Now all
it.
of a sudden, these people who are sabotaging you are your greatest helpers.
Mm.
But in both cases, they're doing what you told them to do.
Wow. That see, this is just another, I mean, I heard that was our one of our first discussions and I was like, wow. I
Yeah.
was struggling because everybody wanted to help me have stuff I don't even like. I mean, I don't even like wine. I never liked cake and wine. And I was like, what? I don't understand this. So, yes.
And now they're trying to give them both to you together. But
Mhm.
yeah, we call this within nutritional fitness, we call this the power of words. There are several segments throughout the course of the program where we talk about words and the power that they have. Another duality, another dual set of words. And we're not going to go deep into this right now, but just think about it. We call certain foods comfort foods. When we
Mm,
call a food a comfort food and we need comfort, what are we going to do? Go to
become
the comfort food. But at the same time, we're calling it a comfort food. Do we typically go for comfort to food that we call good food or food that we call bad food?
bad food, right?
So this thing that we have to go to for comfort, we also have called bad. So to get comfort, we have to do something bad. Now, this is a conflict of values.
Mm-hmm.
Our values are telling us that the only way to get comfort is to do something bad. And when
Wow.
we do something bad to gain comfort, we very deep, this is a conscious level thing. Our conscience is going to get us for doing this bad thing. It's going to create shame and guilt. And when we eat that bad food, what do we feel right away?
Mm.
Shame and guilt.
Oh, yes.
And what do we need when we feel shame and guilt? We need comfort.
More comfort. So we just add a
So
little extra.
and getting that comfort is going to create more shame and guilt, which
Oh,
requires more comfort. Now,
yes.
it's not by accident that food companies encourage us to call food bad.
Right.
Food companies call it junk food. They
Mhm.
call it fast food. Food companies are happy to say that these things are bad. They're
Right.
also happy to say that these things bring comfort. And they do this because as soon as they create this value conflict, they've got us locked in a
Mhm.
cycle. It's a very self-destructive cycle, but it makes a lot of money for food companies.
Yes. I mean, I just think about even the shows in the past, especially in the past where they would, if somebody, oh, there's a breakup on a show, they get a big old gallon of ice cream and they sit and eat, and they might be perfect model shape, perfect people. And I don't know, I guess they
Hmm.
don't really eat the ice cream, but, but they're pretending to eat them. Maybe they're eating yogurt. I don't know. But they're pretending to eat this ice cream,
uh,
that it's like a subliminal, almost like a thing where it's like, oh, okay, well, when things get bad, we're gonna go for that gallon and have
yeah,
eat it out of the gallon. They always do that, or they have a pizza or whatever it is, and it really doesn't.
all of it.
Yeah, the whole thing. Even though they show like a clip of them with
Hmm.
it, and then you never see them actually eating it because then they wouldn't be able to
Hmm.
be that shape. But but something that happens. So it's so much a part of what we have seen and been taught. And I mean, we can get into cafeteria lunches for kids in school. That's just like,
Oh God.
what are you serving the children? And so I worked at a Waldorf school. I raised my 6 kids and worked as a teacher there so they could go. And everybody packed organic lunches and healthy, and it was we didn't do the cafeteria. It was a completely different thing. And
Mhm.
so, but when you go into the regular schools, you see the difference in what's being served. And it should be illegal. At this
Hmm.
point, it's so
Oh,
bad
I
for children.
wholeheartedly agree.
And they have the type 2 diabetes at 8 and 10 years old.
Hmm.
And it's, all these things that they're eating that and they're supposed to be healthy. A lot of it's
Yeah,
labeled healthy or makes it look healthy, and it's 99% sugar or chemical or whatever.
or
So,
just straight up bread.
yeah.
Bread on everything. Bread under your pizza, bread around your sandwiches, bread everywhere.
Yes.
And not even to say that bread is good or bad, but when you have that much of anything,
Mhm.
you create an imbalance in your body that your body can't possibly deal with. And
Yes.
disease can only be the result.
That's right, that's right, and there's actually healthy ways to actually eat bread on this nutritional fitness program at a certain
Mm-hmm.
phase and parts, that work really well, and the
Mm-hmm.
stuff tastes better, and you don't need as much because it's filling because it's really real food. It's some wild stuff that happened. I'm still so new at it all that I'm just learning everything, and I've got the recipe books and I'm just doing it all. But the support is incredible, and this mind, the psychology of it, and all these things that help us. And if you're going through a tough point in the program, and you will, if you're on something new, you'll get these
Mm-hmm.
ups and downs from time to time. There's so much support that you're right back on your feet. And so that I am just really impressed with what you've created, Belden. It's very good.
Thank you. Thank you. It's interesting that you talk about the psychology and the emotional aspects because in any diet, it's never the food that kills people's diets.
Yeah.
The food is the easy part. What kills diets is when people have that first emotional pull.
Mhm.
Emotions define our life, and if we've connected emotions to food, and we all have,
Right.
if we've connected emotions to food and we hit that first emotional pull, that's where everything falls apart. And if we're
Yes.
struggling a little bit already and we get that emotional pull, all bets are off. So if we don't address that head on, then nothing is going to be sustainable.
Mm-hmm.
So we have to go there. And the easiest way to go there is just to go there. It's just to
Yes.
say, this is a thing, let's do it.
Right. Yes. I think that is it's just some magical stuff. I know it's science, but to me it's magic. I can't help it. That's just what I think.
All
I
all
just,
magic has ever been is science that we don't understand yet.
yes,
That's all magic has ever been. So
I'm I am just completely in awe about how good this is and how easy and wonderful it is for anybody. So now this is the wild part. For those listening in, there are people that are underweight and are also,
mhm,
like you were saying, not healthy, and they go on they follow the nutritional fitness program and
mhm,
lifestyle, and they actually gain the proper amount of weight to a healthy weight. So, and they'll be doing the same diet, the same process,
mhm,
because your
mhm.
body somehow figures it out and goes to what is right for you, whatever that is. And that is like, how can this be? Um, how does that work, Belden?
So I'm going to tell you how the juju works. And it was kind of fun. In 2019, we were doing a study in the Philippines of 26 people. And of those 26, three were markedly underweight. Two or three were about what we would expect people to be in terms of weight. The others were overweight, some were diabetic, some were in beginnings of heart disease. And as we created a diet that everybody ate exactly the same thing.
Yeah.
As we created that, we found people that were overweight losing weight, people that were underweight gaining weight, and even more importantly than all of that, blood pressure was normalizing, cholesterol was normalizing, and the other markers, the other important markers were normalizing, even though they were all eating exactly the same thing in exactly the same amounts. And we didn't get to finish this study because of this crazy little thing called COVID came and shut the world down right in the middle of it.
Right.
But what's happening is this. Everything in the body is a series of chemical reactions and responses. True or false?
True.
True. And if we understand that and we create the right chemical environment in the body, because here's the funny thing, Sheila, we don't do a single thing to help
Mm.
anybody lose weight. Losing weight is something that the body does on its own as part of the healing process. If we create the right chemical environment in the body will build us according to our DNA.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we're going for. What can we do in the body so that your body builds you according to your DNA? And if we do that, if you're under what you should be weight wise, you'll gain. If
Yeah.
you're overweight, you'll lose.
Yeah.
If you're not healthy, you'll start moving towards healthfulness because we've only done one thing: create the chemical environment so that your body can build you according to the blueprint that already exists. We're
Incredible.
just providing the environment where that can happen. So wherever you need to go, your body's going to take you to that place. And when you see yourself in the mirror, man, when you are your DNA manifests to the world, and every cell in your body knows it because every cell in your body has a copy of it. And
Mm-hmm.
you look in the mirror and your body screams, "Holy crap, that's me."
Yes.
That is a neat day. That is a
That
really neat day.
that is incredible. And it's just being your best self. And it's to me, it's like, okay, I barely started this process. Cool, but it gets better and better. And so
Hmm.
it's not like you have to wait for the outcome. You get it pretty quick with the starting to heal. And it just
Hmm.
you get more energy, you get better. And over time, I just imagine, oh my gosh, I'm gonna be running rings around my old self. Great. And so I'm looking forward to that. So that's what I love about it. It worked so fast. I was off the medications in a month.
Hmm.
I mean, like,
Hmm.
literally, not go to the doctor's, like, not necessary. Okay, cool. That saves me a few bucks, and it's like, and I don't need to put that in my body anymore. This is awesome.
Hmm.
So, it's
Yeah.
just it is great.
People ask about timelines all the time. How
Yeah.
long will it take to do X? And everybody's a little bit different in that, of course. But I can tell you, when I was going through this myself 17 years ago, my blood pressure normalized in about 6 weeks.
Yeah.
I lost 105 pounds in less than 7 months. I was off of 21 heart medications in less than 2 years. I'll never forget when my doctor took me off the last one, by the way.
Mm.
My cardiologist, when I went in for that last one, said, "Yeah, I don't want to take you off this one, Belden." I'm like, "Why not?" He said, "Because I don't trust what you did."
Uh-oh.
And I said, "Okay, different tack here, doc. If I came into your office today, is there anything in my body that would make you give me this medication?" And he said, "Honestly, no, there's not." I said,
Mm.
"Cool, it's gone." That was 17 years ago.
Yeah.
Getting my blood sugars into a normal range took less than 2 months.
Mm-hmm.
It's like your body can heal you so fast
Yes.
if it has what it needs to do that job.
Right.
And that's all that this is about, is giving your body what it needs to do that job.
And you don't have to. I've had people, oh, you could just staple the stomach, you could do all these extreme things. And I never wanted to do anything extreme. But it's like, this is healing you. It's not harming you.
Mm-hmm,
It is
mm-hmm.
just, and it works. It's crazy. I'm still like,
Yeah.
I am just so grateful that I manifested you. I mean, I'm sorry to say this, but I was like, okay, I want this. I need this now. And boom, you show up. Yeah, it was
Oh,
incredible.
don't be sorry to say that. Shout that from the rooftops.
Yes, I
Shout that from the
definitely.
rooftops.
And I feel like that's something, one of the things after I met you and that happened was, what else? What other limiting, I guess it's a limiting belief. Because oh, well, you have this and that, and you can never, this is always going to be hard for you to have success, and you're always going to have to do the struggle, blah, blah, blah. This is a story the doctors have given me with
Mm-hmm.
whatever my unique situation has been. And I've paid a lot of money to doctors to hear them tell me the same boring story that is not the truth. And I thought, what other area of my life or in the world or on our planet is like some kind of a BS story that, oh my gosh, there is some magical scientific or theory or study or something you could apply that just, it changes the whole game. And it's easy. It's not suffering. It's not hard. It's easier. That and so I've been like on this whole mission to find more. I'm like, okay, send me more answers. But, because why not? That, I guess I'm into personal development, just in case you all didn't know. So yes, this is incredible. Now, Belden, how would somebody get started with you? How does that work? I'd love to hear more about the process for those listening in that may be interested.
Mm-hmm. What I really, really like to do is help people to be able to create a magnet to run through the haystack of the health industry. And we do that on a phone call. And the purpose of that phone call is just to help people to see how things are working in the body, so that when they look at everything available out there, they can say, yeah, that makes sense, or no, that doesn't. If you understand, for example, what energy really is in your body, and that it doesn't come from food, it lives in the cells of your body, and you understand how it works, then you look out there, and any program that tells you that energy comes from food, you immediately know they're steering you down the wrong path.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Anybody out there that calls themselves a healer, and I can heal you, is steering you down the wrong path. Nobody can heal you. Your body does that.
Right.
But if you know 3 fundamentals about how we work as human beings, not the science that's going to make your eyes glaze over, I mean, just the simple fun stuff about how we support it, then instead of picking through the needles or the pieces of straw one at a time looking for the needle, you just pass a magnet through the straw and boom, needle sticks to it.
Yes.
And so we do a phone call with clients who want to know, are we the right place to be? We do a phone call to teach them how to see what the right place to be is. And then if that's us, great. If it's not, you'll have a better path to make decisions. I know we did a call similar to this with you, Sheila.
Yes.
And at the end of that call, you'll have complete clarity on what you need to do next, where to put your next step and the next step after that, so that you know how to allow your body to heal itself. And if that's with us, then we're happy to talk about that and what it would look like to work with us. If it's not, you're going to leave with clarity you've never had before about what
Yes.
to do next. So it all starts with just going to the website, nutritional.fitness, no .com, none of that. It's just the name of our company, nutritional.fitness. Top right-hand corner, there's a button to book a call. Just click it and let's talk.
Yes, that's incredible. Well, thank you. Thank you so much, Belden. Now, I like to end the show with a question that is one of the questions I ask my people on the show and my guests, and that is, if you could go back in time, what
Hmm.
advice would you give your younger self? Just like 3 short tips of advice that you would just send back to you.
I have such a hard time believing that I would want to change a single thing, Sheila. And the reason I say that is everything that I've experienced, everything that I've encountered, everything I've done in my life has
Yeah.
brought me to this place where I'm able to help people. Had I
Yes.
suffered less, I wouldn't have had the empathy that it takes to
Mm.
understand and to work with people. Had I not physically
Yeah.
suffered, I wouldn't have discovered what I've discovered and been able to do what I do. Had I not been adventurous when I was a young kid and taken some really big risks, I
Mm.
wouldn't be the kind of person that thought of going back to school to fix it.
Yeah.
If I could go back and see my younger self, I think the only thing I would say is do what you're doing, dude, because this is where we are, and we're here because of everything that you did. So just
Yes.
follow that course. Be happy, suffer, do all the things that you did.
Trust the process, just like your program, trust the
Hmm.
process. And that's something that your nutritional fitness process, thanks to all your experience and ups and downs that brought you to it, is helping so many people. So thank you again, Belden. And thank you. All right. And for those tuning in, we will be back after these messages. All right. Stay tuned.
Struggle with really bad panic attacks. Sometimes it gets so bad that it gets triggered at work and I will have to leave because I can't stop crying. I can't live like this anymore. I'm thinking about trying medication because I want to get in control of my thoughts and my breathing. Because I've heard that meditation helps with anxiety. What do you think about that? What advice can you give me about meditation versus medication? And what techniques work best to conquer anxiety? Signed, Struggling to Breathe.
Dear Struggling to Breathe, panic attacks are some severe issues. Now, meditation is a huge help. However, I would definitely start with checking in with my doctor. And the reason I say that is because sometimes panic attacks can be a symptom of something else going on physically. So I would suggest that you go to your doctor, have them do a regular physical exam, and let them know what's going on. Was there something that triggered these attacks? Was there something that happened in your life? Did you hit a rock bottom event that you started to notice these panic attacks? Sometimes it could be that your vitamin D levels are severely low, or some other thing could be terribly off. It could be a medication that you're taking that's interacting with some other thing you're taking or a food you're eating, and it's causing you to feel like you're having panic attacks. It could be hormones that are off. And so just rule those things out first. You can start meditation right away. Doesn't mean you have to wait for the doctor to start meditation, because meditation is something you could do at any time in your life. Could have been an auto accident. It could have been losing a loved one. Anything can cause panic attacks. And it could be that it reminded you of something that happened when you were really young, and then one little thing brings all that back, and then you start having these severe panic attacks. And once you have a panic attack, it makes you have physical symptoms.
And so learning how to breathe when you meditate. When we meditate, we're learning how to slow ourselves down, how to breathe, and how to like let go of the outside thoughts and go into a place where we can just calm ourselves. So we're training our body and we're retraining our brain to think differently and get control of our thoughts, because that's a way to get control of these panic attacks. And there has been study after study that shows that meditation will help you overcome these panic attacks. So between your medical doctor, perhaps some therapy or other resources, depending on what was your trigger, and good meditation practice, you can overcome these panic attacks quickly and get back on track. I hope this helps. As always, I wish you life, love, laughter, and light.
Thank you for listening to Welcome to Dear Sheila, answering real questions with real solutions to help reboot your life.
How do I set healthy boundaries and say no without the guilt? Dear Sheila, I have been drowning in projects, volunteer work, and extended family daycare. Most of my adult life, I have had this habit of saying yes to things and then regret it. Now I'm overwhelmed, exhausted, and a bit resentful. Along with everything else, I agreed to babysitting my sister's 2 children, and somehow it's morphed into a regular, non-paid job. My question is it even possible to escape the volunteer workload I accidentally agreed to without having everyone be upset with me? Signed, Yes Mom. Dear Yes Mom, this is definitely the year for rebooting and reinventing your life. Remind yourself that each no is there to serve you and the bigger yes that you have for yourself. Let's run this situation through the Boots formula. Throughout life, one can find themselves facing a difficult situation that often catches them by surprise. Over the years, I saw the patterns in all the times I've had to reboot and in how I've helped my friends and clients get through a hard time and quickly back into action. Ultimately, I came up with the Boots formula. The B in Boots is for being. It is about who you are being in all that you're doing and who you need to be during this situation. Be aware of your feelings and think about people in your life that easily say no to things that do not serve them. Decide who you must be to lovingly and smilingly say no while moving toward your big yes. The first O in the Boots formula is for orientation. In order to get the outcomes you desire, you must be honest. Check in with any activity that is causing overwhelm. Write out your perfect day or week and see what you put on that list of things that you want to do. And then remember that that perfect day is a reminder of your big yes. The next O in the Boots formula is for order of operations. Now that you know who you need to be and your orientation, you can decide in which order you must take action. This may be sitting down and writing out a message or calling to say that at this time you must step down from certain positions. It is also having to talk with your sister about what days and times that you will be available for babysitting and when you will not, without an excuse or an apology. The T in the Boots formula is for thinking. This is where your mindset comes in. Stop waiting for that perfect time to stop doing anything that truly does not serve you. This week, be aware of each time you are compelled to say yes. Either say no, or just for this week, say, I'll meditate on this, or I'll pray over it, or I'll review my schedule first and get back to you. This will buy you that thinking time you need to remind yourself of your bigger yes. The S in the Boots formula is for stepping up. This is the part that puts all the other pieces you have planned into place and helps you now reinvent your life on your terms. The time is now for us to collectively work together to rebuild this year. My hope is that this video series and my new book, Bootstraps and Bra Straps, helps. In my book and on my website, I provide plenty of free resources for anyone dealing with a rock bottom situation to help reinvent and reboot their business and personal life. If you are just tuning in, this is NBC's Sheila Mack Show here on KCAA Radio, the station that leaves no listener behind. I'm your host, Sheila Mack, and today I have a couple of announcements. First, I would like to hear from you. That's right. I would love to hear from you, to be honest. I want to know what your breakthrough is, what your reboot is. How are you reinventing and rebooting your life? What shows would you like to hear more of? What information do you need to help you get back on track this year? And to do that, the best way to connect with me is actually through my new YouTube channel, and that is Sheila Mack Show on YouTube. And there you can see past recordings, and you can also see other information and shares that I have. And I would love for you to share in the comments there what you're needing more of and what you're rebooting this year and how we can help you get back on track.
Is not one size fits all, just like a pair of boots or a bra. So the formula is designed to help you through any situation. Grab a copy of my new best-selling book, Bootstraps and Bra Straps, the formula to go from rock bottom back into action in any situation. It is now available on Audible as well as on Amazon and Kindle and at www.sheilamac.com.